The Spooktacular Stroll, CNY's not-so-scary Halloween experience for the family, is back. Walk through the half-mile trail in the Bewitched Woods at Long Branch Park in Liverpool every Thursday through Sunday in October from 5 to 9 p.m. Pack the car full of your little goblins. Admission is by the carload. Upstate Golisano Children's Hospital's Spooktacular Stroll is presented by Upstate Honda Dealers. Get your pre-sale tickets today at spooktacularstroll.com.
ESPN Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon on QSportsTalk.com, ESPN 97.7. I'm Jill Schumacher here with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson. Going into this week, we have a big game for Syracuse, but right now we're just going to go into our own ACC risers and fallers for the week, where we pick, based off of last week, who has risen up in our eyes and who has fallen down based off the past.
It's a fun week 8 when you're on bye, just chilling, maxing, relaxing, all cool. Maybe shooting some people outside of the school, but, I mean, 2 byes already for Syracuse. Now it's full, throttle to the end. But some big scores, some big Thursday night games. Andrew, big riser today. Who you got?
This is an interesting take, but I think I have to go with Miami. Like, everyone was kind of thought they were maybe on the heels a little bit. And then they played that Louisville team who we talked about 2 weeks ago on the show, said they weren't necessarily playing to their best level. But that Louisville team played at home against Miami and gave them a good run, and Miami proved once again that they can win close games. I mean, you talk about it once you get to basketball season. There's no kind of limit on what a team can do winning close games. You do that in football, and now, Miami, I think, has risen above Clemson for me in the ACC.
Yeah, they say defense wins championships. Miami right now just trying to win each week. They're saying, let's look for a championship, but Cam Ward's got us, and the DB's just sitting back just like,
And even though I know we were saying originally that Louisville isn't playing to their full caliber, their quarterback is no joke, and Miami did do a good job within that game handling that situation. And for me, going into this week, just looking at some past scores, Virginia Tech.
Let's go.
Is my riser. Sorry, Andrew.
Why are you apologizing to me? Someone else had the same one.
I love this Tech team, but we'll get to that in a second. Jill, what you got?
There's a lot of reasons why I think that this is a good win coming off of this for a certain reason. I mean, Tutton rushed for VT, recorded 266 yards and 4 touchdowns. He broke the single rushing record for VT. And then I know that right now they did lose 2 games to Rutgers and UMiami, but one of those is a very well-ranked team. And then I do really think that this kid could be in the Heisman conversation if it wasn't for Virginia Tech's record. And
by the way, they lost to that Vanderbilt team who everyone thought was not going to be there.
Vanderbilt's good.
Look at him.
And Rutgers is solid. And Miami, they really had that game won. But, I mean, I'm in the same boat for Virginia Tech. Exit light, enter the Hokies. I just feel like, football's different in Blacksburg when people are winning. 4-3, they've lost 3 games. That's not great, but 2 of those are non-conference games, so they're right up there at the top of the slate. And they play Clemson in Blacksburg in a couple weeks. Things are looking up for Virginia Tech. They also play at Syracuse next week, so a huge game in the Dome, especially if Syracuse can pull off the win this weekend, and Tech when they play Georgia Tech. But again, this play 266 yards rushing. That's not common, especially on 18 carries. This guy's Superman. That's an insane stat line. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. And they won 42-21. Weird third quarters were a thing for Virginia Tech. They actually got outscored 21-0 in the third quarter by Boston College. So besides that weird quarter, I mean, real total domination Thursday nights. For some reason, no one loves to play on Thursday nights more than Virginia Tech. It's like semi-prime time. It's not enough. They one of the best one of the best win percentages on Thursday nights because they play a lot of ESPN Thursday night games.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, speaking of certain coming off of those Florida games, I'm looking at Florida State for my faller. I'm sorry.
Come on, give these guys a break.
I know. I don't mean to kick someone while they're down, but the fact is that they just lost to Duke.
Hey, Duke's just
No, hey, I'm giving my reason.
All right, please do.
First of all, they earned their first victory over Florida State for the first time in 23 all-time meetings.
Oh, yeah. first ever meeting. That's huge. Good for Duke.
Which is crazy. With turnovers on 3 back-to-back first-half snaps.
Awesome. This is great.
Which is really, it's really going. And then they're having to deal with all this now going into next week, playing UMiami in Hard Rock Stadium, which is not an easy stadium to play in.
No.
And then one of my main issues is that Florida State was coming into this going and saying that they're too good for the ACC. Now we have a whole other Florida school completely outshining them, showing that they are the better Florida team within this conference.
Well, it's
just
all up
laughable.
to you.
It's just actually incredibly laughable at this point.
Yeah, Miami's favored by around 21 points this weekend, but that Florida State game, weird things happen in that big rivalry for the Sunshine State. I have a feeling they can turn around this time and can't work and just take care of business. But if that defense looks as atrocious as they've looked in the past couple weeks, even a Florida State offense that putrid could put some points up. But I don't see it happening. I think Miami rolls, though.
Yeah, and I don't mean to state the obvious and what everyone knows right now. We know they don't look nearly as good as they did last year or living up to the hype. I'm just saying I think it's becoming inherently clear of how the mighty have fallen.
Oh, yeah. And then you know who else has fallen? A team that did play Miami and kept it relatively close. It's a Cal team. What happened since they've hosted game day and right before then? 4 straight losses by a combined 9 points. 2 of those are by a point. One of them is by 2 points, and the other one's a 5-point loss on the road to Florida State. So, I mean, they really can't seal the deal over there in Berkeley. Close losses from going, and they just blew a 13-point fourth-quarter lead to NC State, of all people. Kind of gross. Cal was looking great, not so much anymore. Faller for me.
They're also my faller. But, I mean, you mentioned that Miami game. That was a game that Cal, genuinely should have gotten blown out in, and then Miami just kind of fell apart towards the other way around.
Yeah, 25-point lead for Cal. They were cruising.
Miami has, to go back to Miami from earlier, it's just you look at the last couple seasons, it feels like they're due to have their collapse, but every week they prove that they're not going to collapse. But
it's so close.
Yeah,
only one possession games, quick 1-point, 2-point wins. I mean, a 7-point win over Louisville where they let up 45 points on defense on the road.
Yeah, I mean, Cal, again, not to kick someone while they're down, but bottom of the ACC, 0-4 after starting 3-0. They go on the road, they beat Auburn, and then, since then it's been a struggle. To lack of a better term, it's been a struggle for them. I mean, it feels like they are actively finding ways to lose. Games.
Oh, yeah.
It's sad to see because, I mean, they started out so well, first year in the ACC, an exciting time, and they're still searching for.
They beat Auburn on the road. I mean, not a great win anymore, but at the time it looked pretty solid. An SEC team. Given that now it's one of the worst SEC teams out there, but
and they did lose to Pitt only lost. Cal only lost to Pitt by 2. Yeah,
because they missed a game-winning field goal. So again, you can see the ACC is crazy because one of the worst teams is one of the best teams on paper is losing to one of the worst teams they should have lost in that walk-off field goal. He misses around a 40-yarder, and then Pitt survives, and now they're top 20 team in the country, trying to become even better against a really good Syracuse team Thursday night.
Yeah, it feels like in the ACC it's just survive and advance.
Survive and advance. Yeah. Oh, there we go. NC State, circa 1983. Survive and advance. It's a good one.
Something like that.
And then, I mean, we're looking at some statistics here. The Pitt quarterback threw 2 interceptions that game and only had 133 yards.
Yeah, Eli Holstein, I mean, he's a 5-time freshman of the week winner for the ACC. And we're only in week 9 right now, but not a great week against Cal. Yeah. Didn't show his best stuff there. They seem to be better when the chips are down, when they're down 14 late in the game. They did it against Cincinnati, they did it against West Virginia, they did it against UNC. I mean, they continue to do it each week. So, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second when we talk about Syracuse Pitt. But Eli Holstein, solid quarterback, but a bad outing against Cal.
Yeah, I do agree. And then looking further into the week, do we want to just take a quick look into some of the games coming up for this week?
Okay, we'll check it out a little bit. I would love to.
Obviously we have Syracuse Pitt tomorrow, big one. But just to give a little bit of a shout out to some games coming up this week. What are we thinking?
Well, I think looking at that Louisville-Boston College game Friday night, that BC team a couple weeks ago looked, unstoppable. We loved Castellanos. I think Andrew and I talked about, what's not to love with the guy.
Yeah.
But now it's just the wheels have fallen off since that Western Kentucky game when he wasn't playing. They squeak out a 1-point win, and then the wheels really start to fall off against that Virginia team. Solid Virginia team, but you got to, if you're trying to get back and make some noise in the ACC, you got to beat them. And then just the wheels really have fallen off in Chestnut Hill.
Yes, they have. One of the games that kind of stands out to me is a team that you're really high on, Patrick.
Oh,
SMU.
He loves SMU.
Durham.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, you were kind of talking down a little bit to Duke and saying, I mean, this is Duke. They beat FSU for the first time. All that stuff. But, I mean, this is a team that's put themselves near the top of the ACC standings on their home field against a team that has, aspirations to make their conference championship in the first year. I think that's going to be an incredible game.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think Duke is a good team. Do I think they
6-1, Jill. Give them some respect.
Hey, I wasn't talking about. I'm just saying that was the first time that they've beaten Florida State.
Oh, yeah, ever. In the history of ever.
But I do not know if they have what it takes to beat SMU.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I can't time travel, but in my personal opinion,
but if we could,
I don't see Duke winning that.
Yeah, if we could time travel, I say we'll be sitting there Saturday around 11:30 p.m. saying, "Wow, Duke is good, and they've got an opportunity." to make
Here's the thing, though. SMU. Okay, I think the other foot will be on the other slip will be on the foot with SMU. I think. I mean, they're 12-point favorites on the road for a reason. The rest of their schedule, they just got to play Duke, a home game versus Pitt, and then you got Boston College at home, at Virginia and Cal. So I mean, you have 2 road games versus Duke is probably the only chance on the road you're going to get a loss here. Sorry, Andrew from Virginia, but
I would completely agree.
BC and Cal at home. Pitt's another tough one. So, I mean, SMU really got a shot to make some damage and really, I mean, undefeated in ACC play, and so is Clemson, so is Miami. Someone's got to lose, and that's the weird thing without these divisions. You're going to have weird tiebreakers when these teams don't play each other because there's 17 teams in the conference. They're not going to all play each other.
It's very, very true. All right. We are going to head into break really briefly. Thank you to Q Sports Talk, ESPN 97.7 Newhouse Afternoon. Join us on Twitch to ask us some questions on stream while we are on break with the radio.
Was their timing good?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Awesome. Sweet.
Thank you.
Perfect.
All right, we'll talk. Do a little pit action on the banks of me. Gotcha. All right.
All right, so we're going into...
You're 3, Patty.
Oh, I'm 3. How about now? Better?
He'll tell you.
Sweet. Awesome.
All right.
I'll do a...
Gonna be honest.
Little pit action.
A little pit action. I have some thoughts about that game. What is our score predictions for this Miami Florida State game?
There's 2 ways this goes. Miami blows them out. It's not close the whole game. Or Florida State goes up like 21 to 6 or something. 21 to, like a weird score, 21 to 8 or 21 to 6. And then Miami comes back and then does the weird little dance where they're down to like a last second field goal and win the game. They say like throw the records out in these games for rivalries or whatever, but I just don't see it. I think Miami blows them out like 49 to 7.
Yeah.
Defense shows up for once.
I think people are going to be going crazy in that stadium.
Do you? Well, they haven't won since COVID. I mean, my cousin goes to Miami. He's not missing this game for the world. He just got killed last year on the road.
Wait. They've never won in Hard Rock Stadium?
No, they've won. I'm just Miami hasn't beaten FSU at all since COVID.
I was like, what schedule am I reading?
No, they play each other every year. Like they're pretty even all time, but they haven't won since last 3 years. So.
I wish I could sit here and say I think Florida State's going to be competitive. I just don't. There's nothing they've shown.
Miami loves to bring these bad teams in, man. But if it was that, FSU would be different. But come on, they're going to bring the turnover chain out. But,
maybe,
dude.
Unless they didn't know now their team turns the ball over.
That's not going to happen.
What if it's the most perfect football game ever played, and Miami wins 42-35 again? Second straight.
If it's a
week.
one-possession game, then we're going to have some real concerns with Miami. I think this is a game where it is your rival, but you're going to have to show up and show out here. The U. It's all about the U.
You're telling me you haven't already had concerns about Miami?
Well, you know Miami's toughest game remaining. You know what it is, right? It's in Central New York.
Orange.
Orange.
But orange.
Go.
Orange.
Jill, what rhymes with orange, Jill?
Porhinge, Dorhinge, porridge. That's what Eminem said.
Mm-hmm. That was big.
It is big. That's why the orange are going to go like this with the U.
They break it. Dude, I'm just saying, if the undefeated last time an undefeated Miami team played a road ACC game to close out the schedule after some big wins, they lost to Pitt. and they threw the chain on. Pitt had their own turnover chain, and then Miami proceeded to lose in the ACC championship to Clemson by a lot, and then in the Orange Bowl at home by a lot.
In the Orange Bowl.
That's one thing that always surprises me, especially playing like college football, like the video game. You play the Orange Bowl, you're like, all right, we made it, and then you're playing at Miami against Miami.
You're like, what? How did this happen? You're like, I guess you just take the signage down. They're like, oh yeah, this isn't a home game in Miami Gardens, Florida.
How far is the U-Miami campus from Hard Rock? Is it
45 minutes with no traffic.
That's not close.
No, that's why none of the students go to the games. And also because they're Fairweather fans. They are very far. The Dolphins.
What about their basketball?
Basketball's on campus.
The Watsco Center.
That's cool. They show up sometimes when they're good. When they play FSU on January 8th with me in attendance at the CBB review, this will be lit. Eli Holstein, man, though. I mean, one bad game, but pretty solid guy. Pretty solid QB. Find ways to win. Not like UVA. UVA's goated now. Hey, 2 wins away from a bowl game, Andrew.
I know. I'd be surprised if they got there.
You ready for Syracuse to come out ranked after this Pitt win?
Yes. We're 27th right now. We have second most votes outside the top 25. Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Perfect.
Are we late?
No.
Are we? We're 2:15 to 2.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Oh. Well,
We'll be all right.
you got an eyelash here.
Oh, thank you. That could have been catastrophic.
Okay. Do you? It's all about do you.
I thought we were just cutting right in.
Andrew, who's winning the Atlantic? Who's winning the Coastal? Go.
I'm going to guess neither. No one's winning either.
I lived when the Coastal was like a crapshoot. That was great.
I miss those days.
Com. Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. I am Jill Schumacher with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson.
That is us. We're here.
On ESPN Radio 97.7. So there is a big game this week in the ACC, not only for the ACC, but for us as Orange fans.
Oh, the Orange taking on Pittsburgh in the Steel City Thursday night. Syracuse hasn't won in Pittsburgh since 2001. I think I was 6 months old.
Yep.
So I loved that game. I remember my dad saying, "You're gonna love the Orange when you grow up." And I was like, "Dad, I can't speak, or I can barely walk, or I think I can crawl around."
He said,
Right.
I need to go to the Steel City and see them.
I need to, Dad. In 2024, there's going to be a huge Thursday night game between an undefeated Pitt team and a Syracuse team who, I mean, that Stanford loss is looking really bad right now, but we could talk about that in a second. But big talk. We talked about it before. Eli Holstein, 5-time freshman of the week for the ACC, out of 9 full weeks. They find a way to win games. They find a way to get down and get up by their bootstraps and get out of there with a win. That's why they're a top 20 team in the country. Syracuse is going to have their hands full.
Well, Eli Holstein did not look great against Cal. I'm not going to sit here and say that Pitt is on like I don't want to say decline, but is now doing worse. I just think they had an off game. I do think they just had an off game.
Yeah, this is how they play around their food. They when your mom says like, hey, eat your vegetables before you eat your dessert. They kind of just mess around with all the food. They play with it, and then at the end they're like, oh, we'll eat it all up. Fourth quarter is like, oh, it's time to rock and roll. So they get it done. It may not be pretty, but
They
right
still
now
won,
undefeated.
which is what matters. But
best record since 1982. So I mean, doing something right.
I mean, I think Syracuse has an interesting matchup. Obviously, like to throw the ball a lot, and
Right.
Pitt doesn't have the best passing defense. I think they're ranked outside the top 100 in that stat.
Yep.
But scoring defense altogether, they're pretty similar, and Pitt has one of the best offenses in the entire country.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a real test for both sides. I think they're really going to find themselves in this game, and whoever comes out with the win, I think, genuinely can build on it. Like, it's not so much that Pitt can't build off of a Cal win where they just so happen to, luck into a win there at the end and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think this is one where it defines your season at some point, especially if you're the
Just
Orange.
a rival game too, yeah.
I think you can confidently say that if Syracuse wins this game, they could very well be ranked after.
Oh no, they will be ranked.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the Syracuse will need. I mean, this game, the seasons are gonna. This is a crux point, where one team's going to go beating a rivalry team on Thursday night, a long weekend, especially coming off a bye, which Syracuse just had a problem with, and they played Stanford. The problem was they were too rested, they were too whatever. Again, they played a Stanford team who they overlooked, and they lost. They can't do this again this week. Pitt also on a bye, so 2 byes.
I was going to say, I really do like that they're both coming off a bye, just because sometimes in certain case scenarios, if one team beats another, sometimes you'll hear the argument of, they had time to rest and prepare, and they didn't, so would it be different? Now we're at a clean slate, and we're really going to see what's going to come out of this ACC conference. And right now, Pitt does average 175 rushing yards per game. They are a very offensive-heavy team. They have a lot of options when it comes to their run game, passing game. Sometimes they'll run plays where receivers are running like routes, and then you have a whole bunch of other different things going on where they can do different plays within one play.
Yeah, top 10 offense in yards, literally 500 yards total offense, a top 20 passing team too. Here's my main thing for this game. Syracuse loves to start hot and then let the team back in, and Pitt loves to start slow and then come back in this game. So those two are going to be like perfect matches for each other. You will not have any clue who's going to win this game at halftime, and you might not have a clue by the third quarter, and it might be still up in the air with a minute 30 seconds to go. So
that's really all you can ask for a Thursday night ACC.
I know. Get your
game.
Popcorn ready.
I think it's going to be really exciting. But then also to go back to like rushing yards, you said 175 yards per game
for Pitt.
For Pitt. Syracuse giving up over 125-ish yards per game. I think that's going to be where Syracuse can really nail down and say, if we can stop the run, force them to throw the ball just a little bit more than they would maybe want to, even though their passing game is also really good.
Great. I mean, they're top 20 in yards. I mean, honestly, you're just going to have to find a way to get stops here, and then you can't stall. You can't have like these 3 and outs where it's going to be all field position, because if you can't score each drive, you're going to have to go to the 50 or something. So you can force this offense to do what they do well, and just try to make them do it longer over a longer period of yards. If you're giving them, special teams errors where you're starting on the 20 or in the 30 in opponent's territory, they're going to score. They're going to take advantage of those. So Syracuse, no mental mistakes, no easy mistakes. Make Pitt play the long drives. Going to have a good shot to win this one.
Just going back to what you were saying, how do you think in the realm of that does Syracuse's defense match up with that Pitt offense?
I mean, I think they match up pretty well. It's a Syracuse defense that has looked better and better as the season has gone on.
The attacking is becoming a lot easier.
And they've figured out ways to get key stops in moments where maybe in that first 2 or 3 games of the year you were a little bit uncomfortable, but now you see them on the field and you're a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, that UNLV game gave up a lot of points in that situation, but it's kind of you're flying across the country and stuff like that. And especially in a rivalry game, I think it's something that's going to be harped on a lot is just, being physical and trying to out-physical Pitt, which, two kind of hard-nosed teams.
Hard-nosed teams, tough place to play down in Pittsburgh, where the Stellars play. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
No, and I think that this is two very talented young quarterbacks, obviously, and the Pitt head coach even said that if you don't follow the ACC, you don't follow football, these 2 kids are very, very good, and you should buy your tickets.
Yeah, he said McCord gave some high praise to McCord. McCord's kind of like he said, you did the classic, you prep for every game, one at a time. But he said this one, he gave a little nod, like this one means a little something extra. And it's you love to see a good Thursday night game. ACC's been kicking butt on these weeknight games. They had Virginia Tech, Miami. They just had Virginia Tech, that BC game. It was an electric crowd, and then you got 2 top teams with 1 combined loss playing at the crux of the 3 Rivers in Pittsburgh. Should be fun.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, Kyle McCord right now is sitting at 2,160 yards, which is some crazy numbers, which makes sense why that coach felt the need to make that statement. And then right now they are currently allowing for the defense 229 passing yards per game, which isn't.
Yeah, 184th in the country. It's
not bad. It's not great. So I think the keys to Syracuse winning this game is just lockdown defense and really minimizing any missed tackles.
Yeah, I think it goes back to my point on just if you're going to start, obviously you want to start strong, but this is the game where you cannot, any lead is not safe, especially when you're playing Syracuse and especially when you're playing at Pitt. So extend leads. If you have a chance to extend leads and you don't, you're going to feel sorry for it at the end of the game because you're not going to win. So leads need to be extended here.
Yeah, and it also goes back to your point. Even if you can't extend the lead, you have to, pin them back in their own.
Right. Do
deep
things,
in their own
no mistakes,
side of the
that type of
field,
thing.
and just make them score. Don't give them extra opportunities, because that's when that 14-point lead becomes so much harder when you get down 6-7 minutes left in the game. And now you might have the ball, but regardless of how good anyone is, it's really tough at that point.
And Syracuse 27th in the country right now in terms of AP votes, 2 out right now. Really, that Stanford loss is looking worse every week. Stanford's lost 4 straight games by 20-plus points. They're 2-5. They won their first ACC game on the road at Syracuse, and since then it's just been all. I mean, they played some tough teams. They played Notre Dame. They played Clemson. They played Tech, beat them on the road by 20-plus. Just in SMU, too. Yeah, that was a good tweet last week. It was SMU at Stanford. It was like a 30-point game. There was no one in the stands. It was like, this is ACC football. I don't know if that's the look they wanted, but SMU's a good team.
Syracuse right now is ranked 12th in overall offense, and Pitt is just sitting right above that. So for that reason, I think it's just going to come down to possession of the ball.
Yeah,
who can keep the ball away from who for the longest. I mean, you could say that about any football game ever, but in this game, I really do think it's going to come down to that, because both offensives are very good, and it's just going to come down to the defensive piece.
Yeah, 2 top 12, top 15 offenses playing each other. I mean, again, a lot of points on that board. And we'll see it's going to whatever defense wants to step up, come and join us in Western PA. So
yeah, and they're going to be well rested. Both teams have the bye, like you mentioned. So I think it's going to be pure football, an exciting game, and honestly, like right now, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking it's a coin flip of
it really is
how it goes.
You won't even know. And I said you won't even know halfway through the game. That's 75% through the game. So.
I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited for it as well. All right, we're going to head to break really quickly on ESPN 97.7 with Newhouse Afternoon. Please join us on Twitch and leave us some comments so we can answer those questions during the break.
Sweet.
I'm about to go off about the World Series.
Oh, jeez.
I'm excited about the World Series.
All right, you got to preface it a big game between a New York area team and an LA area team in LA on Friday night. Because then I'd be like, are you talking about Rutgers USC at 11:30?
Go ahead.
Let's go. No. Should be good. I mean, it was better before, like 3 weeks ago. USC kind of stinking up the bed.
Yeah, they do their best.
And Rutgers, too, honestly. I forgot to talk about who to root for. Clemson's on a bye. Big games at Pitt, Louisville, and at Virginia Tech. Do you think they drop any of those? Anything? Think they lose any of these 3, Clemson?
I don't know.
At Pitt's funky. That could be a night game, tough place to play.
We'll see how
I
they
could somehow see something really bad going on here.
At Virginia Tech, okay. See, that's what I was saying.
think being at that stadium has proven to give people problems.
Let me just remind you, 2017, Clemson went in there, and what was one of the biggest games in recent history for Virginia Tech.
And
it's the video that everyone sees right there. Enter Sandman and everything.
They're walking from the locker room.
They proceeded to lose that game by 14. And Clemson still came in and won. So I don't know.
Hey, 14's respectable. Good Clemson team. Hey, Clemson's kind of flying under the radar here.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. They're talking about you, Patty.
What? This one? What the heck?
Oh, God. That's good. That's good stuff. I have a very hot take about this World Series.
Oh, gosh.
I have a take that you won't like, I won't think.
That's fine. Save it for the pod.
What, for Tech?
Don't tell me now. Save it for the pod. Save it for the pod.
Don't worry.
Who's pitching? Who's got the bump? Garrett Cole and
Flaherty.
Oh, Flaherty. Okay. Former Tiger. It's huge.
Garrett Cole.
He had a couple great outings there or a great outing for the Dodgers when they played the Mets.
Oh.
Left him alive.
Oh, so you're saying.
Who do you have winning the series, and in what game?
Dodgers in 2 or 1, maybe. It's going to be that bad tonight or Friday night. Actually, probably Dodgers in 6.
I'm going Yankees in 6. We have a more diverse bullpen.
I mean, I don't know.
The Yankees always find a way to
Look
do
at what the Dodgers did against the Mets.
And the Mets were America's team.
They hit the ball
a lot. Shohei's really good.
Anytime anyone gets on base and Shohei steps up to the plate, it's almost
GG's.
guaranteed he gets a base knock in the playoffs.
No.
I don't know. The Dodgers have used their bullpen really well, and they've had so much experience this year in the postseason because they've done like 3 or 4 bullpen games, which is that impressive. That they can.
Well, no, but that's the other thing is that they've shown their hand already.
Yeah, but they showed their hand in the Padres series, and the Mets still really didn't figure it out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just think it's interesting to me how, not relievers, but how many people they used within their bullpen, like, earlier on.
Well, a lot of those were just because of the bullpen games.
Yeah.
Which was
interesting
so weird,
that they did that, because normally you don't do that in a World Series game.
Yeah, I mean,
every game matters, but they kind of like didn't start their A++s of pitchers for whatever reason.
I think.
Yeah, I think we know the reason.
We'll
but
talk about it more. I think they're. Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to Newhouse Afternoon. This hour is powered by Drivers Village Serco. Go to dvoffers.com for more. And I am Jill Schumacher with Patrick Scanlon and Andrew Watson.
Yeah, and he's getting a little glow hour right now. A little hour of sunlight on his face right now.
Right side of my face.
I know, you look great.
Completely washed out.
I have to say it, yeah, you look great.
We need some clouds to roll in here in the Newhouse SMC.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we have some big games going on this week. Let's talk some MLB baseball.
Whoa. I thought, the Mets are out, so we were done talking, I thought.
No,
that's all.
Oh,
That's
wait,
all
there's another New York team still
Yes.
playing.
Oh, a New York-based team and a LA-based team playing Friday night?
Yes.
Are we talking about Rutgers at Southern California?
Oh, that's exactly
No.
Worked out pretty well for Fox, though. They're getting that game, and they're going straight into some sort of like a Big Ten World Series kind of adjacent against two teams that are kind of reeling. But back to World Series. Enough college.
Right. We have the Yankees versus Dodgers. Judge, Soto, Stanton, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. All household names just right there, all in one series. What are we thinking?
Let's get your thoughts first, because I think Patty and I have similar ideas.
Yeah, all right.
I know yours.
You let the Yankees fan go.
We know that. All right. Well, just to set some precedent, I mean, obviously, this is all anyone has been talking about recently, that this will be the 12th time these two teams have faced each other ever in the World Series. And this is the only second time this century that the top seed from each league will be playing within the World Series, which is very interesting, but that's not including 2020 because the season was cut short. But I mean, Judge and Ohtani are both very, very likely to be MVPs in their own respective leagues. I mean, Judge is leading the AL with 58 home runs, and Ohtani is leading the NL with 54. I think my prediction right now, I'm going Yankees in 6.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I know that we did play the Dodgers already in a series. During that series, in one of the games that we lost by a little bit more, Soto and Cole were not present.
You know, only two teams have swept the Yankees this year, and one team has swept the Dodgers and the Yankees. Do you know who the one team to sweep the Dodgers and the Yankees is? The Cincinnati Reds. They did it last year, too. They swept both the who was it, Diamondbacks and Rangers.
The Rangers.
They swept both from last year. They swept both these series this year. So whoever Cincinnati sweeps next year, put your money down for a World Series rematch, because for some reason Cincinnati can not make the playoffs, but they can beat these world beaters.
You know who else swept the Yankees all 4 games this year? The New York Mets.
I was going to say, I
OMG.
thought that's where you were going.
No. That was just
they
the
didn't sweep
Yankees.
the Dodgers.
Yeah.
The Dodgers owned the Mets. That was pretty good. But Jill, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to disagree with you.
That's okay.
I can't.
We can all have our own opinions. Doesn't mean they're fact.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, sure.
At some point, one of us may be right about what's going to happen.
That's true.
But odds are probably not.
Okay.
But I think the Dodgers win it in 6. I think it could go 7. There's something about looking at the way the Dodgers have done it. I mean, the first 3 games of that Padres series, they looked like, here we go again. The Dodgers, number 1 seed, they're going to fall apart. They're going to lose. The Padres are going to make it through. And then they don't give up a run for 35 innings.
Yeah, not great.
Then they scored like 8, 9, 10 runs in almost every game that they won against the Mets, and that was incredibly impressive.
Yep.
And was the Mets pitching staff great in that series? No.
They're the hottest team in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
But also I think when you look at that lineup on both sides, obviously it's a little scary, but the way that the Dodgers are hitting the ball, there's no kind of moment where you're like, oh yeah, we can take a break, we can get this guy out. I mean,
No, you can
Shohei,
pressure down
Betts,
through.
Freeman is playing on a little bit of an ankle injury,
Yeah.
but you even go down the line, the 2 Hernandez guys, Will Smith. I mean,
Will Smith
that lineup is just
playing?
Yeah, no, he's not the Oscar
No.
slapper Will Smith.
But
He's a catcher.
Dodgers lineup incredible. Pitching staff has been great. I know you want to talk about the bullpen a little bit, but
Well, I was just going to say that this is like forever. This has been like if only we could get this. And it's sort of like, baseball, like purists, are like, these are 2 great matchups. Even going further back, if you go like the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Yankees, that type of thing. And it's kind of like, we know for baseball, somebody's going to come in there and screw this all up, and some wildcard team's going to make a good run. But this year you got the Goliaths. There's no Davids anymore. They're gone. David took a vacation apparently, and we got Goliath versus Goliath. West Coast versus East Coast. Best players in baseball on both sides. You have like, let's bring baseball back series. Like, this is prime time. Everyone's going to be watching this the next 2 weeks. Like, this is the thing to watch.
But with that, I do have a question for you guys. Is that at what point do you think this series lives up to all the hype? I mean, if this is a 5-game series and let's say the Dodgers or the Yankees win it in 5, is it really that exciting?
I feel
if
like
they go 7,
it's gotta go 7.
Baseball is revived.
I think it has to go 7. If you're going to hype it up this hot, and if it doesn't go even 6 or 7, and you head back to, it's got to be like Yankees up 3-2, head back to LA. LA forces a game 7, something like that. And like, that's going to be pure bait. Like, that's going to be real fun to watch. I just don't think I think the Yankees are too wishy-washy. I think the Dodgers are hitting the stride at the right time. I think the Dodgers also win it in 5 or 6. I'll go 6 just because I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping for more of a series, even though, you can talk what I want about the Yankees, but the Yankees have, like, they go on streaks, and then they sort of reel a little bit, and they're finding their stride at the right time, obviously, but I think the Dodgers are just playing like world beaters right now.
I don't know. For me, I don't think if this game doesn't, like the series doesn't go into 6 or 7, that it's all a wash. I think that because having 2 top seed teams playing each other hasn't happened in years, I mean, that itself is enough. But I do understand what you're saying, that some people who are fans of different teams are kind of like, this is boring, boo-hoo.
I need the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
2 teams that are absolutely fantastic are playing each other in the World Series. Where's the storyline? Where's the fun in that? I think that it's the history in this is the storyline, and I think it's what making it so fun.
The thing is that Dodgers series, I mean, there were no close games. It was all blowouts.
No, yeah.
So even in losses, if you can get more competitive games, I think you will, because these are the 2 best teams in baseball, point blank period. I think you're going to get a lot of close games, a lot of runs scored. You talk about homers for this Yankees squad, the Bronx Bombers. They're really putting some juice back in that name. Teams just in the postseason, when they out-homer the opponent, they're 21-7. So, and last year they were 25-4. Like, power wins, especially late in October.
I have a bit of a proposition / question for you.
Proposition / question. Got it. Hit me with it.
What are the chances that we see Shohei Ohtani pitch in this series?
I want to say absolutely 0.
That would be
chance.
insane.
I think I made this joke like 2 weeks ago.
I know.
And said think about how awesome it would be to get Shohei pitching
On
to
the bump.
Judge. Kind of like that World Baseball Classic.
Oh,
Shohei
yeah,
pitching to Trout.
His rehab is going at an accelerated rate right now.
They're not going to mess with it.
I don't think they need him to
I
pitch.
don't think so either,
Yeah.
but what are you doing if it's like it's coming down to the wire? You need one amazing pitch, or are you putting him in?
No. I'm putting in someone who has experience in the postseason this year. I mean, Shohei hasn't pitched an entire year. And think about if, let's say they make him pitch, does that throw off his
batting too?
his
Yeah.
ability to hit the ball as well? Does it throw off his rhythm? I mean, he's played.
You don't think it's worth the risk?
No,
I
not
don't
at all.
think so. And I think it's the same thing also for the Yankees with Nestor Cortez.
Yes.
He's been, I mean, that's been a discussion that we've been having for the last couple of weeks now. He's been gone for 2 months now, and he said something along the lines of, I'd rather, pitch and win a ring and then have an entire year off and, like, get Tommy John pretty much than, not pitch and lose. And I think if you're the Yankees, do you really need Nestor Cortez to pitch? Probably not. But it would be
nice.
really cool if he was pitching. So I think it's the same way. But I don't think Shohei steps on the bump this World Series.
He's going to be too busy hitting bombs. I think that's another huge point. You got some great lefties on the Dodgers, and you got a real short porch in right field. You got Freeman, Muncy, Ohtani. These guys, that's a Little League World Series wall out there. So I'm just saying, I think the Yankees, especially when they go back there, they could have some trouble with these lefties hitting bombs. But I think we're probably looking at a split series, 1-1, headed to the Bronx. It's going to be who wins Game 5, essentially.
I essentially think the person who wins this game is the team that's able to pitch within the strike zone, because there's been a lot of floating around and people taking certain walks because of it, and it's been happening to both the Yankees and Dodgers.
Yeah, I think
to a degree where it's unreasonable.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason people are saying that is because in that Mets series, the Mets elected to pitch around a couple guys, and I think they set some records with the amount of walks they had in the entire postseason. So I don't think you can really go off of that Mets series is kind of an outlier because they couldn't find the zone. So I mean, we'll see.
If
I know
someone can find
the
zone.
Dodgers have such a patient lineup.
Oh yeah.
You step up there and you think, okay, they could hit a home run, and you throw a slider.
They fight 9
half
pitches
an inch
deep.
off the plate,
10
and
pitches
they lay
deep.
off, and you're sitting there like, well, that was my best pitch. What am I going to throw now?
Right.
I think it's going to be so exciting, but I still think the Dodgers.
All right, well, we're going to head into break really quickly. Thank you for listening to Newhouse Afternoon. Stay with us on break as we continue this baseball talk. No, I agree. Because people were talking about, certain... Thank you. People are, talking about, the pitching around type thing and, finding the zone. But the Yankees were doing it, too.
Yeah. It's going to be so interesting.
You know what I'm thinking? I think it'll really benefit Jazz to be playing in L.A., warm weather. He looks freezing out there. He looks like he's frozen. So, I mean, he's got the Miami blood in him. I think he might break out of a slump for a couple games in sunny Los Angeles.
I think it would be so cool, though, if Shohei was pitching.
That would be
Well,
sure.
I was...
Do you think Judge will pitch, too? That would be
Depends on how bad the games get.
He's throwing in there.
Someone was saying, they were like... Shohei Ohtani walks up to his coach and he's like, I feel good, I could pitch. What do you think happens? They're putting him in?
No, they're going to say...
No.
They're going to pick up the phone and say, hey, get this guy warm. Shohei just said he's pitching and he's not.
He's lying to them.
Yeah, I don't... As cool as it would be, I think that would be... It could end up being one of the biggest blunders of the season if they let him throw.
Because what happens if he goes in and he blows out his shoulder?
Yeah, there's no reason to try. You have the pitching. You're fine.
I was just curious because it was a big debate if we were going to see him. But I don't know.
I don't think they mess with fire. I think they got a good thing going. Might as well keep it going.
I agree.
Yeah, their bullpen is good. It is good.
It said people want the Dodgers to win. It was like Southern California. People want the Yankees to win like a little section, like New York State, and it was like the middle of the country is like rooting for a meteor to hit the country.
Or rooting for the Dodgers to win in 4 games so they don't have to watch much of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna be sick. I can put that aside and say Yankees Dodgers is like peak television.
Yeah.
The problem is will it
Yeah, that's always the problem. It's like It's when you watch the national championship, college football, and Notre Dame's playing Alabama. Oh, this is going to be a great game. And then you're sitting here in the second quarter, and you're like, well.
Are you bringing Notre Dame to the Yankees here?
No. But it's just like two teams that are like really good.
Oh, national powerhouses.
That you're excited to watch, and then they play each other, and you're
but
like,
Clemson, I guess Clemson, Alabama, you saw every year.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where like, at what point does it not live up to the hype? And
also, what constitute or what like?
Yeah, what
is
the
living
hype?
up the hype?
Yes.
Yeah. Where is your bar here?
Do you want to go to the store after this?
Oh, sure. Maybe not for that. 80% off.
I know.
Oh, it's world
Oh,
t-shirts.
I'll go with you guys.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'll skip the gym and go to.
Oh, let's go. I gotta get a basketball jersey.
Yeah, I skipped the gym today too. And
You're an
yesterday.
Adonis. Look at you.
And the last 5 months.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You look shredded. You look like. Go like
Yeah.
one of me.
It must be the 1,000 push-ups I do in my room every day.
Let's go. I saw you have a pull-up bar.
Yeah. I just don't know where it went. I lost it.
I swear I had it.
Yeah.
Someone stole it from me.
Yeah. 100%.
Hundo P.
Tuck some hoops.
Some
hoops.
It's all about the you. Break it.
It's all about the you. It's all about the you.
Is that do we have a radio show that week? I don't think we do.
I have no idea.
Oh, we do have a radio show right before Thanksgiving, though. Sweet. I can't wait to hear our question, Andrew. We're going to get surprised here.
Game time has not yet been announced.
For attack.
This should help me.
Just make sure to we're back tomorrow, too. Even though we're not. But everyone is.
We are.
We are Penn State. We are Syracuse. Clarion.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Jill Schumacher with Pat Scanlon and Andrew Watson here on ESPN Radio. So, Syracuse Orange do have an exhibition game this Saturday at home.
Oh, we're switching it up. A little football to basketball. I'm a fan. We could get down to clown. I think, exhibition's kind of, they've had them in years past. It's more than like that secret scrimmages where you didn't really notice how to. Now they're kind of opening up to the crowd. Like, especially you got two now. Like, that's becoming a thing like throughout college basketball. Love to see it. So these like smaller programs getting a little bit of the national spotlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clarion and Slippery Rock, some solid warm up. Just getting ready for Lemoyne. You got to coach. You went to media day, Andrew. What'd you see Friday in the Dome?
I think it's going to be an exciting season. I think they're really excited about what they have. There was a little bit of a visit to Syracuse's campus yesterday.
Yes, I saw.
John Rothstein.
You mean
came
the
here.
college basketball's hungriest insider was here?
Yes,
Yeah.
and he had a lot of good things to say about the team. Brought in a couple good guys. Obviously, Eddie Lampkin, probably the most recognizable name
that's
that came
household
in.
name.
But Donnie Freeman, freshman. There was a little bit of a question about his physicality. Every other day, depending on who he's playing against, his physicality matches up well, and then
Well, the senior guard, Juan Carlos, commented on freshman Donnie Freeman at that media day, saying he's going to be special and where he wants to be one day. This kid is an NBA player. It's just that simple. Don Freeman is going to play in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
And he's definitely going to be, I would assume, he would definitely be a starter for the Syracuse team this year.
I would agree.
It'll be, obviously, Carlos, as you just mentioned, then J.J. Starling, Chris Bell, who's really improved on his three-point
Mr.
shooting.
Sniper right
and
there.
I think he's ready for a breakout year. I'm not sure he was super happy even shooting 42% from behind the arc last
he was
year,
like
which is
upset
pretty
with it.
crazy.
Yeah,
I think,
that's something I like to see.
I think they're really ready to, really step out this year.
And
It's gonna be incredible.
right now, they were just ranked 11th in the ACC. Both men and women's team were both ranked that by ACC media. And I will tell you this, The men's basketball team did not take that lightly. They already have 11th in each one of their lockers.
Oh, okay.
Making it a point this year, saying that you're not going to underestimate us. We will not be finishing.
We will be
11th, and that was a big mistake.
I like that. All right, sweet. Well, it's going to have to come. I think you're losing Judah Mintz with 16 points a game. I mean, it's tough to come back from that. I think you're going to have. Obviously, you're going to have the Hofstra transfer, Carlos, doing a lot of distributing, around 6 assists a game last year for Hofstra, like 10 points a game in Hempstead. But it's going to be distribution everywhere. So I think it really is going to come down to Eddie's performance down low. He's probably going to be your big man starting down low. He shoots 88% of his shots around the rim. Traditional big man, gets good rebounder, solid passer. Turnovers a bit of a problem at TCU and at Colorado. Going to need to figure that out. But big fighter, he'll bring the energy and the fight to Syracuse for better or for worse. He's going to need to figure out when to bring that fight and when to hold back a lot, because these guys, I mean, Syracuse, when you're playing Duke, UNC, some of these big guys, and you're getting in their face, you got to better bring it, because if they fight back and they're better than you, it could add a little extra fire to the flame.
I mean, Eddie Lampkin is 6'11".
Yeah, but he is
65 pounds.
He's got a lot of theatrics with him, which is good, but it also comes at a price sometimes.
I think I was talking to him at Media Day. He was talking a lot about how he was kind of fitting into that role at Colorado, kind of as that third or fourth guy on the team. And distribution was his thing there. I mean, he's a great passer. Coach Autry said, great IQ, high IQ, really good passer, can find things. I think it might be a little bit of a DJ Burns situation with just a little bit more mobility. The ability to draw that double and then, take the pressure off.
He's a solid passer. He can bring people in there.
Yeah, so I think he's going to offer more than just that inside game, because once you can put him on the block and let him go to work, someone might have to step over, and what does that do? It leaves open a shooter, and if it falls into the right hands, this could be a great 1-2 punch with inside-outside game.
He scores a lot of cuts and putbacks. I mean, you're not going to see him traditionally get the ball down low, take 3 dribbles, and do a move. But if he gets the ball outside, 2 people come in, collapse on him, quick pass. I mean, he's a flashy passer, except with trying to work on the turnovers, but solid passer. He can find the open lane and get guys to score. So facilitation and rebounds, putbacks, going to be the success. Having some big men success as Rothstein, but he's put it hopeful optimism, I think was the term he used. A lot of optimism here in Central New York for the Orange. But last year, a big problem for them was they didn't capitalize on those preseason tournaments, and they lost by a lot. So in the net, if you lose by a lot of points, even if it's to a great team, you're going to get docked for that. So they lost by 20 plus to Tennessee, you lost by 20 plus to Gonzaga, and then you beat a D2 team that doesn't matter for anything in Chaminade in Hawaii. You're going to need to play Texas, and you're probably going to need to win that game and then win the next one, and you'll be solid safe. The non-conference is what sets the ACC up for success this season, and that's what's going to happen from now on, and it's happened the last couple of years, is if you do not win those non-conference, there's less wins to spread around in the ACC, because it's just these top-heavy UNC and Duke playing each other, and then losing a game where you get a court storm in Syracuse last year, where the best wins are only getting spread around for a couple teams in the ACC because they didn't do so well in the non-conference against non-ACC teams. Yeah,
and then you were saying that we had a very large recruit visit just recently.
Oh, yeah.
During Media Day. But there's something I also want to touch on. Keon Anthony. He just said that, I'm actually really close to making a decision. I'm looking to commit within the first 2 weeks of November.
Okay.
So he said they want me to go somewhere that fits me, and then taking in consideration Mello with the orange that might fit his need, a family-oriented school with not too much going.
Syracuse. Lock it in.
Yeah, I did hear that he's down to, it might have been a rumor, I think he's down to 2 choices now.
Okay, so he went down from 3, yeah.
But it's good that he's saying that he kind of has an idea of when he wants to, because I know Syracuse Orange fans are patiently awaiting that one.
Yeah, and I know Mello hasn't put much pressure on him to choose Syracuse. I think it's just all...
Which is great, yeah.
Yeah, it's just all his own thing. But that other guy that you were mentioning, Alex Constanza, came in this past weekend, 5-star out of Miami, Florida. The other schools he's looking at, Bama, Arizona State, Auburn, Creighton in the Big East. I think you land 2 of these guys, they already got Freeman.
Exactly. And then you're getting solid transfers. Like, if you're getting good recruits, solid transfers, I mean, rest of your success trying to go back dancing for the first time since 2021.
Yeah,
good stuff for Red.
Because right now we're in a, I would say, pretty good position going into like this season, and then you're building up with some better like 5-star recruits going into it. And
They'll be fighting.
I'm liking
They'll still be fighting for playoffs in February.
You can't forget about Elijah Moore, who's also on the current Syracuse roster.
Right.
He's a little unsure about what his role is going to be. I think everyone's a little bit unsure, but from the way he made it sound, great team player, and in the next coming years, I think he's going to be able to step up for Syracuse as well. So you get a couple big recruits, and history flips on its head.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of basketball, I do have a question for both of you.
Is this a Judge Jill question or just a question?
All right.
Oh, it's a Judge Jill question.
Oh, you're about to enter Judge Jill Schumacher's courtroom. The people are real, the cases are real, and the rulings are final. This is Judge Jill. Boom, boom.
What is the hardest basketball stadium to play in the ACC, and you cannot say the Dome?
Oh, I was going to say, the Dome's great,
first?
but you're going to go first.
Cameron Indoor.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Yeah, it's Cameron Indoor. I think we're going to tie on this.
When you play in such a small place and it's just everyone on top of you, where they're all like hitting woo, and there's those students around you, and it's the best basketball atmosphere in probably the country, you're going to have to go. Like Chapel Hill's great. The Dean Dome's great. It's just so big.
It's massive.
When these fans are on top of you, it's a different feeling, especially when the sound comes in on itself. I'm gonna have to shake your hand and go.
Yeah.
Cameron Indoor Stadium on this one.
Yeah.
I don't like giving ties, but I guess I will.
You could be the winner today.
Yeah, Jill wins.
good
So we go
question.
1-1-1 around. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, I get a win?
Yeah, you got a win.
You had a good question for us.
1-1-1 around.
Agreed. So I feel like that's.
I know. I feel like the Dome's great too. It's just there's a lot of people. When you get a lot of people in there,
Yes.
that place gets loud. So
Yes,
when Duke comes here, we're not gonna have to be at Cameron Indoor this year. Good stuff. Hopefully, can happen that Wednesday in February.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us on QSportsTalk.com with Newhouse Afternoon. Make sure you tune in tomorrow and listen for the rest of the week.
2:00.
2:00.